Hey everybody, it's Big Ben. This is Big Ben's Movie Show. Back again for another week. Now last week I told you guys that my host this week would be my wife Jennifer, and then I hadn't seen her in a few months. Still haven't seen her, don't know where she is. We're looking. But, good news, I got Kyle Bowen. Kyle's back! Yay! Welcome back, Kyle. So Kyle, welcome back to the show. We haven't seen you since November.
Yeah.
What have you been up to? What you been doing?
Being reclusive and growing hair.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So, Kyle, quick thing we just want to plug right at the top of the show. Kyle's doing a magazine.
Yeah.
What's the name of the magazine?
I am the literary editor of a magazine called Broken Image, and our Valentine's Day issue is out Valentine's Day, and you can find it at brokenimagemagazine.com.
Okay. So it's a digital magazine then?
It is both digital and there are hard copies. You can get either kind.
Okay. And then for hard copies, is that something they can pick up?
You order it on the
from
site.
From the
Yeah.
site. Okay. Well, awesome. Awesome. So pick up Broken Image Magazine on Valentine's Day. Good stuff. All right. So this week we looked at two movies here. We looked at Hail Caesar, the new one from the Coen brothers. And we also looked at Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies. And this time, last time, remember, Kyle didn't get to see the movies. This time he actually saw one of them. We'll talk about what happened to the other one. But let's go ahead and start with Hail Caesar. Let's take a look at the clip.
Oh, Monty. Come, join me on the divan. It seems Allegra's a no-show, which is simply a bore. But I'll partner you in bridge.
Ho! Would that it were so simple.
Cut. 27 Apple, take two. All right, let's try this. Your line, just say it as I say it. Say your line exactly as I'm about to.
Okay, sure.
Would that it were so simple.
Would that it were so simple.
Would that it were so simple.
Would that it was.
Wait, watch my mouth. Would that it were so simple.
Would that it was so
Would that it
simple.
were so simple.
Would that it was so
My
simple.
dear boy, why do you say that? Why do you say twere?
Well, you said say it like I said it.
Yes, but...
Would that it was so
No,
simple.
you seem to be lingering. It's interminable, the were. I'm wondering when it'll end. And we shouldn't be wondering, should we? We should be marching right along to so simple. Would that it were so simple, trippingly.
Would that it were so simple, trippingly.
No, don't say trippingly, say the line trippingly.
Gosh, I can't seem to cinch my saddle up on this, Larry.
Would that it were so simple.
Would that it was.
Put your hand down.
Would that it was so simple. 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 Simple.
Would that it were so simple.
It was so simple.
Would that it were so simple.
Would that it was so simple. It was so simple. Would that it was so simple. It's complicated.
All right, that was the trailer for Hail Caesar, and that really cool thing about that trailer, that wasn't just a collection of scenes from movies. That was really almost one great scene that you got to see. Probably one of the best scenes of the movie. That exchange there between Ralph Fiennes and Alden Ehrenreich. Kyle, what did you think of the movie?
Well, first of all, I'm a huge Coen brothers fan. Of course, The Big Lebowski is probably one of the greatest movies ever made. This, to me, seemed like kind of a cross between Barton Fink and Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I missed John Goodman terribly in this movie.
Yeah.
It's a Coen brothers movie. You're supposed to have John Goodman in it. I liked it, not as much as I thought I would.
Yeah, that's about where I landed too. I was super excited for this. Saw the trailer back in I think November, December for the first time, and I was amped. This looked to me like, well, one of my favorites is Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And like like Kyle said, this had a lot of elements of Oh Brother, Where Art Thou in it. So I was really hyped to see this. thought, look at the amazing cast, look at all the amazing stuff. And while it was good and I did like it, not as much as I wanted to. And I think a lot of that had to do with kind of the wishy-washy ending a little bit. And then also just not as many laugh moments, not as many high points as Oh Brother, Where Art Thou. It didn't really come in at the same clip.
Yeah, I also think it was not marketed correctly.
That's a good point.
I think the story is really about the Josh Brolin character.
Yeah.
That's really who we're following here, but they don't really market it that way.
No.
And then there's some characters in it I think have no business being in it. I love Scarlett Johansson. I didn't see why she was in this movie.
Yeah.
Same thing with a couple other kids. Like there's a bunch of sailor dance bit that like, why is this here?
Nope. No reason.
But other people were wonderful. What was it? Tilda Swinton. She played two characters. She played twin sisters, and she was fantastic.
Yeah.
And there were some very, very good things in this. I don't think she gets much credit for that, but I thought that was a very good portrayal from her.
Yeah, no, she was great in this. But you're right. I mean, there was tons of great big set pieces, great big things that really seemed to be there just to show off, like that old school Hollywood movie making that just isn't done anymore.
Yeah.
Like a giant dance number that we just don't do giant dance numbers anymore. So
And I'm very grateful for that, actually.
So they have a giant dance number with Channing Tatum where he actually sings. This was his first time singing on film. That actually is important. It will come up later in the movie news. We'll talk about that. But then the other big set piece that I was kind of wowed by was Scarlett Johansson's character's big scene. They did a big synchronized swimming scene where all the girls are in the pool and they're all moving at the same time. But
Right.
for a long time it seemed like she was underwater. And I wanted to kind of like check I don't wear a watch, but I was like, how long has she been down there? Because it feels like she had been down there for quite some time before they brought her out. But yeah, it's because she was underwater and she was swimming, and then the whale comes and gets her, and then she's supposed to come out of the whale.
Yeah.
But it seemed like the whale was going slow.
Well, have you seen Esther Williams movies? That's who she was, basically.
Okay.
She wasn't playing Esther Williams, but she was playing an Esther Williams character.
I've
and
seen
Esther
things like
Williams did a
those.
bunch of movies, and they were all like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen some things like that. I remember Little Orphan Annie had a bunch of scenes with synchronized dancing, synchronized swimming, stuff like that. The old one with, what's his name, Albert Finney as Daddy Warbucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd seen some stuff like that. My parents made me watch a bunch of those old movies as a kid. And for that aspect of it, that and some of the Western stuff that was shot, there was a part of that I really liked. But Kyle's right, it really doesn't go anywhere. It's there and it's cute and it's fun, but there's not really any purpose to it, and that takes away from what it was trying to do.
And again, that's comparing it to Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? There was a lot of side characters and a lot of side things, but they all affected the main three guys we were following in one way or another.
Yeah.
In this movie, there was a lot of it that really didn't have anything to do with what was going on at all.
No.
It was just kind of, let's throw this in because we want to.
Well, and they raised the tension of the main character a little bit just to give him something more to do, and that he would be more stressed because he was working, but not in a way that actually forced him to do or change or grow. I mean, it seemed like it was just his job.
Well, again, yeah, the Josh
Yeah.
Brolin character, that was kind of the message of the movie, was that it's better to be really needed, which he was there because he had to deal with crises and he could, than to go to some place where you could maybe make more money and live a better life, but you're not really needed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's kind of the whole point of the movie.
And also communism.
Now, communism, yes, there's a lot of communism in
A
the
lot
movie.
of communism in this. So yeah, just and kind of from nowhere, and it's. I mean, if you ask somebody what the movie was about, that communism is integral to the plot, but really, it was just something that was happening that week.
Yeah.
It wasn't super important. But yeah, it was. But it did have. It did create some of the funnest moments of the movie when Channing Tatum is jumping onto the submarine and leaves the. So that's some fun stuff. Channing Tatum plays a wonderful dancer, ballet type guy in this, and has a lot of fun, just holding poses and really mugging for the camera in ways that are really great. A lot of fun to do. Really, I mean, the whole cast, and this is a huge cast. There's a ton of names in this.
I just saw something, I think there was 226 cast members.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And not only are they cast members, but you'll recognize a lot of them. Even if you can't name them, there's a lot of faces that you'll just look at and be like, oh, that's the guy from blah, blah, blah. And then you'll have to go look it up later like I did. But I mean, of the communists, there was 4 or 5 of them, including Wayne Knight.
Well, Wayne Knight, yeah, he was in early in the movie, yeah.
Who has like a tiny little part as one of the communists. and then disappears, but is still one of the communists. And Fisher Stevens and David Krumholtz and a bunch of other people that were just great. Melamed, I can't remember. I think it's
I don't know.
So yeah, he's showing up in a lot of stuff lately as this really great kind of vocal actor. So, but yeah, Hail Caesar, good, but not everything we wanted it to be.
I think you can wait for it to come out on HBO.
Yeah, there's really nothing there that has it's a must-be theater feeling. Wait for it to come out on video. Wait for it to come out on HBO. You'll like it just as much. So, all right, moving on to the next movie, we are looking at Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
Boo.
Now, I saw it. Kyle didn't. He says he's got a really good reason for not seeing zombie movies, and we're going to hear it when we come back. Let's watch the clip.
The zombie apocalypse is here.
I've been training for this my whole life.
Oh dear.
The undead are like locusts.
Well, then the human race is surely doomed.
My daughters were trained for battle, sir. Not the kitchen.
You keep saying you got something for me.
She's the most beautiful creature I ever beheld.
Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. Because it wasn't enough to have Pride, it wasn't enough to have Prejudice, we needed zombies too. Okay, so I saw this one, I thought it was, okay, I'll give my quick review and then we can hear why Kyle does not ever see zombie movies. So basically, I saw this and it's really follows the story of Pride and Prejudice. The zombies are kind of a secondary instance within the whole world. It still follows who's going to marry who's going to get the titles, who's going to get the money, and and Miss Bennet and how she doesn't want to be part of that whole system. She wants to marry for love and affection. So that part of it stays intact. That's still the story of the movie. The zombies are there merely as a plot device to move the story from one place to the next. And in that area, they did pretty okay with it. There's a couple little things that I'm going to nitpick on. They keep talking about learning fighting skills from either Japan or China. So Japan learning samurai skills and China learning kung fu skills. None of these skills are ever exhibited in the movie whatsoever. It's mostly just a lot of this. They look like they trained swordsmanship from Paul Bunyan. They're all just hacking and slashing at whatever's in front of them. The other thing that I thought was a little kind of odd, the main character, Elizabeth Bennet, is the only one who gets to show cleavage in the whole movie. She gets cleavage in every single scene, no matter what's going on. Even when she's laying on the ground, they made sure to shoot her from at the top of her head so that we could see some boobs. The other characters, many of whom have larger chests, never have cleavage. They're all covered up. They're all very chaste, I don't know whose decision that was, but that was a little bit ridiculous. The other thing that I thought was odd, they use the words that are in the title a lot. If you were worried about what title it was and maybe I might forget the title sometime during the movie, don't worry. They say Pride, they say Prejudice, and they say Zombie once each word every about 10 minutes. They make sure those words keep coming back. And they don't ever use variations of pride. It's never, he's so proud. No. He has too much pride. They made sure to hit the exact friggin' word. Other than that, though, it actually was kind of told well. I kind of enjoyed it. It's campy, it's over the top, but at the same time, if my wife wanted me to go see Pride and Prejudice, and she's asked me many times, and I've never said yes, this would have been the way to do it, is to get me to go see it like this. So, and I think that's the whole point of the movie is, you know, ladies, finally get your guy to go see Pride and Prejudice with you. So, but yeah, let's go ahead now. Kyle, when I asked you to watch this movie with me for the show, you said no because you never watch zombie movies.
I don't watch zombie movies. I don't like zombie movies. I've never liked zombie movies. And I mean, I need to explain why.
Okay.
In addition, as we mentioned earlier, I'm a literary editor of Broken Image magazine. I also happen to be a stand-up comedian, and by the way, quick plug while I'm there, I'm going to be in the second annual Chico Comedy Festival at the Big Room on the 25th of April. But the other thing I used to do, which I don't do anymore, is I am also a licensed embalmer. And I have dealt with 20,000 dead human beings over my career. Yes, more than that, actually. Zombies make no sense at all. None whatsoever. No zombie is going to exist more than a week walking around. Either a crow's going to eat it, it's going to rot, it's going to do all kinds of gross things I don't want to gross your listeners out with, like maybe explode from pressure from gas.
Okay.
It's not going to work. Zombies don't work, and they make me mad every time I see them. These are undead zombies. Now, you can do like a Borg kind of character. Like there's a Stephen King book called Cell, which I don't know why is not a movie. And they actually make these characters into zombies from they're not really zombies, they're a hive mind.
Okay.
Which is different than an undead thing. And I can actually buy that. But the undead zombie thing, they just make me angry. And I've even written for a zombie movie, which I never saw. I wrote a scene for a zombie movie, and I don't even know if they used the scene, but it was a comedy, and nobody could write comedy, so they wanted me to punch it up.
Okay.
And I refused to do
Quick
the whole
question,
thing.
what was the zombie movie?
God, I don't know.
Is it something recent?
It was now like 4 or 5 years ago. It was zombies and something else.
Was it zombies that grow hair?
It could have been. Could have been.
Because I was in that.
Were you?
It was Gruesome was the name of the project.
No, I don't think that's right.
Okay.
But anyway, I wrote a scene about they got the zombies to go away by throwing Cinnabons at them, basically.
That's not what I was in.
Yeah, okay, so, and I just did that one scene. But I never saw it. They may have cut it for all I know. They may never have even shot it.
Okay.
But I know I wrote it for them, and it was the only funny thing in the script.
So you're saying that zombies, if they were walking around and being Walking Dead,
right?
That their limbs and their bones and everything would just degenerate.
They wouldn't make it. If it was cold, they'd freeze. They wouldn't be able to move.
Yeah.
And if it was hot, they'd rot in days.
Yeah, and then there'd just be mush.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't. Huh. Well, there you go, folks.
And what's more is any wildlife, once they realize they can eat these things, are going to eat them.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and although some movies do have wildlife that also become zombies, so then you have zombie dogs. So then the wildlife does come and take a bite of them, gets infected themselves.
Okay. I'm not watching the zombie. I have read Pride and Prejudice. I could actually talk about the basic plot, but the zombies I got no use for.
Yeah, no, this one, I mean, it was, the zombie thing was fairly prevalent. I mean, there was one big kind of turn in the movie where one of the main characters, actually, you can see him right there on the poster, he's holding the gun, and he's showing attention to Elizabeth Bennet, and actually talks about how the zombies might be our friends, and that was the only big twist, was what happens to him in the whole movie. Spoiler alert, they are probably going to do a sequel to this. The final, Pride and Prejudice and more zombies. So at the end of this, there was actually a quick final scene cut, kind of like they do in the Marvel movies, right after some of the credits, where the zombies led by this guy here in the red shirt, now we're all rushing back to kill the rest of them, and there's more zombie death, and so look for another one of those, because yay, Pride and Prejudice and zombies. All right, this week on the show we're going to start a new segment that is called Bad Accents. Now this is when we look at actors who have very good careers and have done some really good work, but at some point they made the decision to do a movie and have a terrible, terrible accent in that movie. Tonight we are looking at Jon Voight, specifically Jon Voight in the movie Anaconda. In this movie he decides that he is playing a Paraguayan who will guide Jennifer Lopez and Ice Cube, or Ice Cube. It's one of the ices. And they're going to be going down the river to find anacondas, and he is their guide, and he decides he's going to speak in a very thick Paraguayan accent. I'm not quite sure, but let's go ahead and take a look at the tape, and then we'll talk about it.
I don't know, it could be dangerous.
know. But at least you'd be there to protect us.
¿Tiene protection? It's been a long time since I had a woman.
That accent gets worse throughout the whole movie, yeah, especially when he starts talking about the snakes, and he talks about how they can crush your bones, and you get to live to hear them crushing your bones. It's a bad, bad accent, which is weird. Jon Voight has been solid in a lot of things. Maybe not amazing or great ever, but surely he's been...
certainly Midnight Cowboy was a great movie.
Midnight Cowboy has been fun. His work right now on Ray Donovan is quite good, and he does a Boston accent on that show. And he does it quite well.
Maybe he just, because the whole idea of Anaconda, you know it's not going to be a great movie.
No.
So maybe he just went in there going, I'm just going to screw around.
Yeah. But yeah, for this week, it is Jon Voight in Anaconda. Jon Voight, that is a terrible, terrible accent, and you should apologize to everybody for doing it. Bryan Singer is now officially going to be directing 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. They're going to remake it, and he's going to be the director.
Who's the studio? Do we know?
I believe it is Disney.
Oh, suck.
Okay. I mean, do you feel like Disney movies just suck usually, or
generally speaking, yes.
Generally speaking,
yes.
Okay. I mean, at this point, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Originally, when it was written, it was a futuristic movie. It was sci-fi.
Yes, it was Jules Verne.
It was Jules Verne, yeah. And nowadays, I don't feel like it's sci-fi anymore. I feel like it's like, I mean...
Well, the way to go with it, if you're going to do it, is to do it as steampunk.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if they're going to do it that way, because I have no idea. But if you're going to do it, that's the way you do it. You do it past futuristic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that it happens in the past, and that, I mean, he's still got the tech.
Yeah, but he's doing it. But everything's like... not engines and motor oil, it's, you know, electricity and wind and stuff.
I gotta say, there was a movie that kind of touched on 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, but it wasn't about that, and that was League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which is an iffy movie, but the use of Captain Nemo and his ship, I thought they did quite well. I mean, the ship looked cool, Captain Nemo looked like a badass.
I know submariners, and they will tell you a submarine is not a ship, it's a boat.
There you go. I didn't know that.
Yes.
But okay, there you go. All right, so you're saying suck. I'm going to probably go ahead and say suck too. I'm feeling pretty strong about that one. All right, next one up, MacGyver. Did you ever watch MacGyver?
I was subjected to it on a few occasions.
Okay, MacGyver, which is half of this logo up here, is coming back, not just as a TV show, but also as a movie. We're going to have a TV show and a movie running side by side. The movie having to deal with the adult MacGyver, right there, Richard Dean Anderson. And the TV show is going to deal with MacGyver Jr., his young son, who's also going to be doing similar stuff, you know, fixing bombs with rubber bands and stuff. What do you think? Is that going to suck or not suck?
Oh, definitely suck.
If he comes back, I got to say, my big hope is I want the hair. I want that hair to come back. I, as a child, as a 9 and 10-year-old, and I believe into my teens, had that haircut.
I would have mocked you mercilessly.
Good stuff. Everyone did. I also only ever wore sweatpants. Those were my...
That's cool. I got no problem with that.
Yeah. Like, I'd rock some teal sweatpants and my mullet, and then like a t-shirt that had a big black and gray cat on it.
You were styling.
I was styling. So there you go. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hope it doesn't suck, but more than likely, yeah, that's going to suck. All right. Next one up. And this goes back to what I mentioned earlier from Hail Caesar. Channing Tatum and Joseph Gordon-Levitt are going to make an R-rated musical. Musicals are a very big thing right now. We just had, I mean, the networks have been doing them. Started with Sound of Music a couple years ago, and we just had Grease live. They did that, and that did very well. So there's even more musicals on TV. And apparently they're talking about doing more musicals in movie theaters. Channing Tatum just had his singing debut with Hail Caesar. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's been a song and dance band for a couple years, for quite a while. Does a bunch of it on Broadway and stuff. And they're going to make it an R-rated one. That's why I put that one in there, because I don't think I've ever seen an R-rated musical. So there you go. R-rated musical, is that going to suck?
Well, not a real musical, but I mean, like, I think Hair, the movie, was R-rated originally. I don't think it is now, but I think it was originally. I can't think of any R-rated
No.
musicals offhand. But sure, why not? I can't tell you if it's going to suck or not because I don't know what the story is or anything else, so I don't know.
I'm going to go on a limb and say not suck too, because these two guys lately don't really have any projects that suck. Everything they're doing has some merit to it. There's even Night Before, which originally when I first looked at it sounded like a silly idea for a movie. I watched it, I enjoyed it. Joseph Gordon-Levitt was quite good in it, and Channing Tatum lately is good in everything he's doing. That kid shits gold right now, or craps gold, if we can beat me for that. Oh, 19 shows before I did that. Okay, moving on. Next one up, James Franco. James Franco has signed on to be in a movie about a violent stripper road trip. So there you go.
Violent stripper road trip.
Violent stripper road trip. It's actually based on a true story that was told by a stripper to Rolling Stone a couple years back. But yeah, how does that sound? A movie with James Franco in a violent stripper road trip.
Again, I have no context.
No, yeah.
It could be great, but does the story work? I don't know.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, I'd be willing to look at the trailer.
Okay.
Go from there.
See, and that's why we do this, because based solely on this, suck or not suck. But so you're saying not suck. I'm going to go on a limb. I'm going to say not suck also. I have a good feeling about that. Again, James Franco, everything he's doing is fairly interesting, good stuff. So yeah.
Can I throw in a quick aside on James Franco?
Go ahead.
The thing I'm looking forward to with him, and I mentioned this to you before the show.
Yeah.
Stephen King's story, 11/22/63, starting on Hulu like within a couple of days after this airs. You guys see this.
Absolutely.
I'm very much looking forward to this. I love that book, and I love Stephen King's stories, and he's in that. He plays the main character. I just wanted to mention
basic concept of that, I believe, is that there's a man who finds a door that when he steps through the door, he goes back to...
He goes back to the early 60s.
Early 60s.
And he's going to go back and try to save... Well, it's actually he goes back much farther in the book. But he's going to get back before JFK is shot in Dallas, and he tries to save him. And that's the concept of the book.
That's the concept of the story. So that sounds like an amazing idea. I'd love to see that. All right, last one on the list, and this is the one that's a little bit nutty. Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, has confirmed that he is making a movie based on the arcade game Rampage, and it's going to have the same director and the same writer as his movie San Andreas. So basically, you see that little helicopter right there? That is going to be the helicopter from San Andreas, only now he's going to be looking at buildings crumbling, not because of an earthquake, but because of giant dogs, lizards, and monkeys.
I have no idea what Rampage is.
That's basically the game. So the game is you're one of these creatures, and you climb up a building, and you punch it, and if you punch it enough, it falls down.
Wow.
That's the game.
Wow, that sounds like a hell of a movie.
I mean, it kind of is. I mean, it's kind of like Godzilla plus Giant Wolfman plus King Kong all thrown into one movie.
So it's just like a urban planner's dream. You can just tear up the city with these monsters and build a new city. Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and just say it's going to suck.
Yeah, I got no doubt it's going to suck.
How the hell could that not suck? Yeah, that's going to be rough stuff. So, all right, Kyle, you have anything else you want to plug? Anything else you want to talk about before we?
Just repeat the magazine that I'm one of the editors for, Broken Image, is out on Valentine's Day at brokenimagemagazine.com. And then coming up way off in April, I'm going to mention that because it's my local gig. It's the second annual Chico Comedy Festival, and I'll be there on the 24th, or the 25th rather, at the Sierra Nevada Big Room in the headliner room for that. So.
There you go. I'm trying to angle in, and I might be a part of that show too. Probably not in the big room with Kyle, but somewhere. So yeah. Definitely go check out the Chico Comedy Festival here in April. For us, if you have questions for the show or if I did something wrong, if you got mad when I said that word a little bit ago, go ahead and give us an email. Our email here at the show is bigbms, bigbms@zoho.com. Let us know what you're thinking about there. Or if you'd like to be a host just like Kyle was here, you can let us know and we'll put you on the schedule. So thanks a lot for that. Next week, I've been looking forward to this one for a while. This is a good week. Zoolander 2 and Deadpool, okay? And there's also another movie that looks funny called How to Be Single. All three coming out at the same time. My co-host next week is Trevor Allen, who filled in for me a couple weeks ago. We all love Trevor. So great. So come back next week and check us out then. For now, good night, everybody.
I killed 4 razors doing this. Literally killed them. Not figuratively, literally.
See, I use clippers to clear the brush.
I don't have clippers.
Yeah. I got a beard trimmer thing from my wife a couple years back.
I don't have that.